Hey, this is Eric with Shire Lawns. Thanks for checking out the video. This is the first quarter checkup of the business. If you looked at our past videos, you will remember that I set some really small goals and I talked about where I wanted the business to be in the first month or two. I'm really happy to say that the business is doing very well, way beyond my expectations. So I figured we'd go over a little bit of that. So my original plan, my original goal was to have 5 clients a week. To me, that was, it was easy, but also still a little daunting because I had no idea. I didn't know if any of my marketing was gonna work, if anybody was even interested in having a new lawn guy. Good news is I now have 34 clients. That's a mixture of weekly and bi-weekly. I actually plan on doing a video going over my marketing and advertisements that I did that helped me along the way. So look out for that one. We'll go into more detail on how I got there. But yeah, 34 clients, way beyond what I expected. So initial goals, the 5 clients a week, that went away literally the first week of the business. I think I got 8 or 9 clients before I'd even started cutting. So that was awesome. My next major goal was for the business to break even. So that means my expenses and my profit would hit 0 or par. That did take a little bit of time. This is halfway through June now, so we're a little past the first quarter mark. Business has just broken even. With any business, anyone can tell you that there's gonna be expenses that come up along the way. There's gonna be some setbacks, and only so much planning can really get you where you wanna be. And that's why most businesses take a couple years to become actually profitable. And that was my plan, to breaking even. I saw that happening at the end of the year, so I'm very happy that it's happened earlier. But like I said, there's setbacks. So let's talk a little bit about that. So the 2 major setbacks, and they're not even that major, that have happened for the business that was out of the expectation was, first and foremost, my main mower that I purchased before I bought this back in the winter time last year. It died on me at a customer's house, which is just like, worst case scenario. Long story short, carburetor was just bad. It's got over 1,000 hours on it, so it needed some work. I ratchet strapped the lawnmower onto my trailer because I didn't have a winch. I didn't have another mower to pull it on, the 800-pound machine. So that was really fun to do. It took me like an hour and a half to get it on the trailer. So what I planned to do was later on this year or even next year, I was gonna buy the mower or a mower that I had my eye on. And that just got expedited because my thought process was I have to have a lawnmower that I can count on, for lawn care business. It's kind of essential. So went out to my local dealer. I found a company really close to me actually that sells Hustler equipment. I've always been really interested in Hustler among a few others, and it worked out. The people were awesome. They've got my business. I'm planning on coming back later to get some more equipment from them. And I literally bought the machine. They had a financing deal where 0% APR for 2 years. I put a significant amount down on it and then did a small amount of financing just so that I wasn't depleting too much of my capital at the beginning of the business. But it paid off. I mean, that I got a 36-inch Hustler stand-on mower. Why a 36-inch? Well, I have a lot of customers, and I'm still gaining customers that have either very small yards, especially small backyards, and or have fences that are not wide enough to get my 52-inch through it. So, the original plan was I was gonna be out there push mowing that stuff, and that's not an ideal plan because it takes way longer and no customer is gonna pay me for that time. That would have been on me. So 36-inch stand-on mower was perfect. I can get through all the fences. I went and got all the bells and whistles on it. I went out and bought a lawn roller to get the really clean, nice stripes. It was an aftermarket. I didn't go with the one that Hustler specifically makes for theirs. I wanted to try something a little different. It's worked great. It makes the yards look fantastic. I also went ahead and bought one of those fun aluminum, side baggers, and I'm really glad I did because I have 2 clients in particular that want their yard, actually 3, that needed bagged every single time. And originally, again, back at my X mark, the 52-inch, that was just gonna be a hassle because the leaf collection system on that thing makes it about 62 inches wide, maybe a little bit wider than that. And it's just huge, it's cumbersome, it's heavy. So this all worked out. So that was the major setback. Just to give you some numbers, that was all in just shy of $11,000. So, I started the business with around 20,000 in mind. I put a little bit of my own money into that as well, but I was trying to stay in that perimeter. So I spent almost half of that up front to get this mower, but it's more than paid itself off already from that point. So that was the major setback. The only other thing that was a setback, and it happened actually last week, was that I lost my first client. Thankfully, it wasn't because of something I did, or at least that's what they tell me. It was a personal reason. I have assumption that maybe it was just the cost or whatever it is. So, I tried not to read into that too much. That's gonna be part of the business. You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. I did actually, in full transparency, went to the client and asked them directly, hey, I know you said it's personal reasons, just checking, is there anything I could have done better? Any suggestions or requests? And they said, no, I did a great job. It just wasn't going to work for them right now. So, it's always worth asking the question. It helps me as a business owner, but also just personally so that I know I don't have to feel defeated because of something maybe I did. But yeah, as far as setbacks, that's about it. Everything else has been very successful. Have had some learning moments. This is my first time full-time doing a lawn care business, and there's little things that you just don't think about. Like for instance, when you're in a customer's house that has patio, like dark patio especially, they don't want you rolling over that with a lawnmower. Some of you are probably like, duh, but I hadn't thought about that. And so had some customers request that I not do that because it was leaving some marks, and I agreed with them, and so we switched it up and they're happy now. Little things like that. Also, kind of navigating the whole grass length with customers. Some people's idea of a long, healthy yard is different from mine, and it just takes a little negotiating and being professional and calm with your customers. You don't need to get frustrated with them. That's the last thing you need to do, is get in fights about dumb stuff like that. So, save the fight for things that really matter. So, new business. The business is doing actually really well still. We're, mid-June, and I'm getting about 1 to 2 inquiries a week or every other week, which is much slower than when it first started. But, by now, most people, especially in Delaware, they've already got their lawn people lined up. So what's happening now from what I'm gathering is that we've got customers that were planning on mowing this year, and then either something health-wise or other related to something like that has led them to not be able to do it anymore. So now in the middle of June, they're looking for somebody to come along and finish it for the season. We've also, in our area, we have a lot of second homes and a lot of rentals. And when you buy a new rental or buy a new second home, you have to find somebody. And if you're buying in the middle of the summer, that's where people like me get to jump in and at least give an estimate to get that business. And so far I've been winning those. So that's felt really good. So to keep this video from being any longer than it needs to be, I wanted to just really quickly go over what the company's next goals are, what my personal goals are. So I think every lawn care guy always has this in the back of their mind, is what's the next piece of machinery we can get that's gonna make my life even better. So, the Exmark I have, the 52-inch, I bought that used, has over 1,000 hours on it, and I'm feeling it. It's now, thought I had a battery issue, now I'm thinking it's a solenoid issue, just having occasional problems that are making me think it's not as reliable as I'd like it to be. The 36-inch does a great job, but for properties like one of my lots that I cut, it's about 5 acres, and I can't do that with a 36-inch. It's just gonna take forever. So with that said, my next goal is to be able to pay cash for the machine I want. I'm still doing a lot of research on what I want that machine to look like. I have spring and fall cleanup options here with leaves, so I have to be very mindful of the machine that I get, because stand-ons are fantastic, and that's really what I want. I want a larger stand-on. Problem is that when you're doing leaf cleanups, it's just me, so I don't have a crew of guys that can corral leaves together and then just bag them by hand. That would take me forever. So I have to keep in mind, I need something that will be able to collect those leaves. So looking at some ride-on options as well, trying to figure out at this stage of the business, the amount of business I have, what works for me. So that's I'm sure I'll talk about that more later. I'm trying to push that decision off towards the end of this year, maybe even into next year, if I can get my current mowers to be, you know, reliable. The only other goal really, and this is the goal of all business owners, is I'd like to be able to pay myself. I have done some small owner draws, mostly just to kind of see what it felt like and what it looks like on the books, but nothing substantial. The majority of my focus right now is that I want to make enough to put aside both for the business expenses that I know are coming up, but also to save enough that I can give myself some pay through the winter months when business slows down significantly, and you know, those odd and end jobs are only going to be here and there. So that's the goal. So I have some ideas there, and I'll save some of that for the marketing video that we're going to do. But yeah, thanks for checking out the video, looking at the channel. If you have any comments either way that you'd like to add, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll catch you next time here at Shire Lawn.